You're so funny.
I ain't gonna have a hot flash during the interview. You see me going.
Amy oh my goodness, I should have dressed up.
Right?
Let me put on a shirt. Let me go put on a shirt.
No,
This is just a LuLaRoe, really comfy, stretchy thing. And this is all my hair will do when it's humid.
Oh,
It's just,
let me go put on a shirt. Look at everybody with collars and such.
I'm in black. What are you
It's a plain white shirt.
You
I'm
have
wearing
on a V-neck.
Yeah, and I keep trying to check it because I'm like, woo!
Oh my goodness.
She went to go change, didn't she?
No, I went to get water. Hey,
Okay.
in the words of our former First Lady, it is what it is.
Oh, I love it.
one hardship for me is, unfortunately, but honestly, worrying about what church members will say and how they will respond. And not just church members, but just people in my life. If they hear me say something that challenges their presuppositions. If I say what I feel like I need to say, that God's leading me to say, then how are people going to respond? And I feel like I shouldn't worry about that, but I do worry about that.
The fact that when you come out like that, a lot of people automatically take it as an indictment upon them. You know, like when I say Black Lives Matter, that doesn't mean that I don't care about all the white people in my life, and it doesn't mean I'm accusing them of anything. But that, you know, that's what's hard for me, is navigating that anger.
They expect me to say something along the lines about fair treatment. To say that they expect me to fall either one or two categories, either to be outspoken and what they would call, I put it in quotes, a radical or liberal, or they expect me to know my place. One of the two. It comes from even being a female, is that the expectation that a patriarchal society expects you to hold. You know, it's still ingrained in some people, not all people, but still, especially in some of our older brothers and sisters who want a safe Negro that they can have in places that they can control, and they know their place already.
Well, I know for me as a campus minister at a historically Black university, the challenges to practice anti-racism are not as great in my context. But as a African-American female preacher who does more than just work on campus, as I'm invited to other churches, many times white churches, I do have to understand my audience, if you will, and where I am, even a different style of preaching. I have a couple of friends that I reached out to see what we could do in our community about challenging racism. And we are all three of us were on fire, but I had to understand that we had different contexts. They are pastors in a predominantly, white church. And so here I am with fire and ready to go in there. And I had to understand that they have fears that I don't necessarily face at this moment. Their membership and who they would offend and that kind of thing. And those are legitimate fears. And so we had to talk through those.
Where you work in general on campus is more of a safe space because it is a historical Black college. But it was a couple of months back and I was just checking on you and you said, you can't really come here because if a white person walks into the room, then people will shut down, which I totally get. Talk more about how you must be doing a lot of healing ministry.
In these times when our young folks are feeling attacked, our young Black men are feeling attacked, and so when they come in and they want to talk about that and they want to share their fears and they want to be angry in a safe space and they want to be hurt in a safe space and they want to cry in a safe space, helping them understand that being angry doesn't mean that they don't have faith that God is going to fix it.
Yeah, and I think that picks up on something For me, one of the biggest hardships of practicing my anti-racism on a daily basis is you have to be very slow sometimes in just bringing white and black groups together because there is no trust. You know, that's why they quit calling it reconciliation ministry and now it's race and healing, because you can't reconcile something that never existed, right? Like,
right. As a campus minister in a very diverse campus ministry, said, why are you stirring up stuff still? Why are you dredging up the past when it's the past? Why do you keep putting these students through this when it's actually something that we have moved past and we've moved forward? And I'm like, first of all, no, we haven't. That's a lie you're saying to yourself, but it's here and now. We haven't even gotten out of any of this. The civil rights movement was only 60 years ago. It has not been, my mother and father are older than that, only by 7 years. So it is not something that is of the past. It is something that we still are needing to sit in. And I love the way you just said that. I wrote that down, race and healing. Cynthia has mentioned this, and I think Tara too, on you cannot slap a Band-Aid on something and think that it is healed. We have to do the deep cleaning. We have to sit down there and get it to where there's no festering anymore, that we have come to the table where we can sit and have open dialogue like we are now. But that is something that in our ministry, we have had some pushback. And just recently, when we did the Race and Reconciliation, the Wade in the Water last September, you would have thought that us opening up to a whole annual conference, that we would have had a bigger and better turnout than we had. And Cynthia can attest to that. It was not the turnout that we had wanted, but it was the turnout that hopefully has planted the seeds that will then continue this to grow even further and have young people who were there establish this relationship to where they can move past and have deep conversations because they went. But that showed a lot to think that people did not show up who proclaim to want to have healing, who proclaim to want to move forward. So those are kind of the things that I see in the ministry and deal with on a regular basis, because our ministry is something that we pride ourselves on, trying to break down a lot of bias walls and be able to sit in uncomfortable situations to where we can then build each other up and move forward in a positive direction. So I know we haven't always been popular in that group because we do push and stretch our students, but I think it's what God had called us to do. So that's pretty much all I have to say on that.